Hello and welcome back to the Empower Her Business Accelerator podcast. I'm Philippa Channer, and today's episode's a bit different than our usual business strategy deep dives. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast so you don't miss any of our business growth tips and inspiration. Now, I'm sure that many of you can relate to the roller coaster of emotions that come with being an entrepreneur. There are exhilarating highs, challenging lows, and everything in between. And if you're anything like me, you might experience a particularly intense wave of burnout during those summer months. So today I'm opening up about my own personal experience with summertime burnout and sharing some of the strategies I've developed to not only survive, but actually thrive during the season. All right, so first off, let's start with my burnout story. I want to be honest with you all. During the months of June and July, I often feel myself feeling just, blah. My energy dips, my motivation just dwindles, and the thought of tackling my to-do list feels overwhelming and just annoying. It's not that I don't love my work. I absolutely still do. But like many of you, I tend to pour a lot of myself into my business. And when summer hits, when it's just longer days, vacation vibes, and perhaps a bit of FOMO, honestly, about what's going on, everything else around me, I just lose steam. In the past, I tried to push through it, but that just would make things worse. It wasn't until I started just listening to my body and prioritizing my own well-being that I found a way to just navigate through these burnout cycles. So here's a few of the things that worked for me. So the things that I learned along the way, and hopefully they can resonate with you and you can apply them for whatever burnout season you have. Like mine just happens to hit during the summer seasons. A lot of the other female entrepreneurs I network with do share similar sentiments about the same thing happening around the same time, but other people I've heard it happens around the holiday season. So this, honestly, I'm calling it summertime burnout because that's when I hit, but this applies to any season where you're experiencing this, okay? The first thing you want to do is just acknowledge it. Don't try to deny or fight the burnout. Accept what's happening and give yourself permission to slow down. I intentionally reduce the amount of appointments that I put on my calendar. I intentionally reduce the amount of events that I have planned of where I'm going to show up, just because I know these months are going to be slower. So I prepare going into June and July, like this is just part of it. And then I start revamping and kicking back up in August. The next thing I want you to consider, and the next thing that I learned was to set boundaries. This is huge. Protect your time and energy. Say no to things that drain you. Delegate tasks where possible and set clear working hours. Again, if you prepare your marketing, let's say whatever seasons you have, if you know this is just a season that you have a pattern that has developed for you, and you know that every particular, maybe every whatever your 2 months are. For me, it's June and July. I know that that's coming. And so around January, I start preparing different campaigns to launch in April and May. That way, when I hit the slower months, I've kind of given myself a little cushion and accepted that, okay, I'm not going to have as much appointments. I may not have as much cash flow coming through those months. And so I prepared myself for that. And so I planned it and shifted. So that I was able to set boundaries when it came to June about, what tasks I was going to do and what projects I was going to work on, because I already knew this was going to be my slow period. The third thing I had to learn along the way and want to share today is self-care isn't optional. It's not an optional thing, it's mandatory. Prioritize your rest, your relaxation, and activities that fill your cup. This might mean taking a mini vacation, spending time in nature, or simply just enjoying a good book. But you need to just say, what does my soul need right now? And it's not always work, I promise you that. What does your soul need? Do you have a hobby outside of work that you can engage in a little bit more during this time so you're filling yourself up? Is there more family activities you could and should be doing right now that's going to fill your soul in other ways that work is just not going to do for you? For me, it happens to be both family and my hobby that I engage in outside of work is just playing video games. I have been a gamer all my life. And I don't paint. I mean, I would paint. That would be cool, but that like wouldn't feed my soul. But sitting down for a few hours and just playing a video game feeds my soul. And it just so happens that my entire family are all gamers. So me, my husband, all three of our kids. And so to have an opportunity to play games together, that is great self-care for me. Next thing that we want to focus on is after shifting our focus. Instead of big launches or complex projects, focus on smaller, manageable tasks, things that are not going to overwhelm you. And you want to experiment with different ways of working that feel more aligned with where your energy levels are at that moment. You may have to say, okay, my work days are going to be much shorter. Like I'm only going to work from 9 to noon. And then in the afternoons is me time. That may help shift your priorities and shift your different tasks to align with where you are and where you need to be at that time. And then the last thing I want to really encourage people to do, and I know this one for some personalities is really hard, but you want to think about and really look at asking for help. Reach out to your support network, your friends, family, mentors, or even a therapist. You remember, you do not have to go through this burnout period alone. You're going to have partners that you can align with. And again, these partners could be friends, family, mentors that you've developed over the years to say, okay, either tangible stuff in your business that they can pick up and maybe help with during a season, or just to remind you and encourage you that it is okay to slow down. That gentle reminder every now and then from people you love is going to go a long way. I know being burnt out can feel isolating, but remember, you're not alone in the struggle. By prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, and adjusting your expectation, you can navigate the summer slump or whatever seasonal slump you're in and emerge feeling refreshed and recharged. Another thing that I want to make you aware of too is you want to know your limit of this season, because what you can potentially do is go from being burnt out and slowing down to becoming too lethargic and too slow down. And then your body just becomes almost like you become depressed because your body is slowed down so much. You've disengaged your brain from some activity so much that now your brain is just like, well, Netflix and chilling is all I'm going to do. And you don't want to get to that point. So you want to find that right balance of staying engaged and active enough to where you feel you're not losing momentum, you're still engaged, but you are giving your body the rest it needs and you're not running on hustle energy all the time. Okay? All right, so next month, we're going to be diving into our customer journey and how to build strong, lasting relationships with your clients. Until then, please be kind to yourself, prioritize your well-being, and remember that it's okay to slow down and just find your pace for a little bit. If you're still looking for a community of women who understand the unique challenges of entrepreneurship, the Empower Her program might be the right place for you. I want you to book a discovery call and let's see how we can support each other and see if the Empower Her program is the right fit for you. And until next time, take care of yourself and I will see you then.